Hi guys, thanks for checking in. Now, if you watched my previous video, which was the Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett review, I mentioned that I wanted to do a comparison showing the differences between the Empire Strikes Back version and the Return of the Jedi version of Boba Fett. Originally, I planned on including that in the in said review video, but it already blew up to 14 minutes, so I decided to make a separate companion video, and this is it. Alright, so I'm actually going to start off doing a comparison of the Empire Strikes Back Hot Toys version of Boba Fett with a screenshot. Now, I got the idea of this from Dave over at the Hyperspace Vault. If you haven't already, head on over to the Hyperspace Vault on YouTube and check out Dave and Alex. They're doing some fantastic work over there. He asked me about the colour of the green on Boba Fett's armour, if I thought it was a bit too bright. And it definitely does look too, well, not too bright, but it definitely does look bright in my video. And you can see on the left hand side there an image of Boba Fett from my video. Having said that, I've found in the past my lighting, for whatever reason, seems to exaggerate the brightness of colours, and that could be part of the issue. But also, if you look on the right side of this image, you see, I don't know if it's a still from the, I don't think it's still from the actual movie, I think maybe just a set shot or something like that. The green on his armor does look a lot darker and duller, but I found that if you it's actually very difficult to get some decent screenshots of Boba Fett from both The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and the colors of his armor vary widely. I guess depending on how, whatever lighting was on set when the photo was taken, and whatever processing has been done to the picture before it's been uploaded. So I don't know. I'm actually going to back Hot Toys on this one, and I don't know what they use for their source material when they're making these figures, but I'm going to back Hot Toys and say that they probably got it close to right. But anyway, what we can take a look at is all the weathering on the armor, and I've actually got a new appreciation for this figure, actually, from looking at this comparison. And I mean, I love this figure right from the start. I knew I had to buy it, but comparing all the weathering on here, Hot Toys has done an amazing job. Hopefully you can see my mouse pointer here, and I'll try and point out some of the features. But I mean, starting off at the top of the helmet, you can see the classic ding there. They've nailed that, as they should. Another weathering spot just above the brow there, they've nailed that. All this weathering around the on the red section around the visor, if you compare that, they've actually done a fantastic job there. I think they've nailed that. The shapes and the positioning of all that weathering, pretty much spot on. And on the rest of the helmet as well. And on the rest of the armor, there's a section of wear and tear here on the left hand shoulder. Doesn't really show up on my image of the figure, but it is there, trust me. On the chest armor, it's all pretty much, it's pretty close. There's a little bit here on the sort of lower left breastplate that I can't see on the Hot Toys figure, but the one thing that really stands out to me is this logo on the right breastplate. The angle on the Hot Toys figure version doesn't seem to be right. I think it sort of needs to be rotated a bit anti-clockwise. Apart from that, it's not too bad. Got the ding down on the cod piece. Now you can see the flight suit is from the still shot. It's actually quite grimy, and Hot Toys did actually nail that. They, even though it doesn't show up on my shot of the figure, it is, the flight suit on the figure is quite grimy. So I think they did a pretty good job there. Alright, now onto the comparison between Mr. Fett's Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi look. I thought we'd start off having a look at his blaster rifles, and of course I forgot to look up what the models are for those blaster rifles, but you can see very clearly the difference there. The Empire version sort of looks like almost like an old school sawn-off shotgun or something like that with a scope attached, and the Return of the Jedi version looks like a much more modern laser gun, but the grip areas are very similar. The stock is sort of similarly shaped, but the detail on that is different as well. And of course the Empire Strikes Back version comes with a strap that the Return of the Jedi version does not have. Now onto the actual figures, and we'll start off with the helmets. And the thing that really stood out to me, and I didn't realise until I received the Empire Strikes Back version, was the shape of the helmet. Now, I think, well, the Return of the Jedi, at least the Hot Toys version of the Return of the Jedi helmet, is a lot narrower at the sort of base. It doesn't flare out as much as the Empire Strikes Back version. Looking at this image here, I think this is sort of being exaggerated by the perspective as well. I record these videos on my phone, which is obviously not the greatest camera, and the angle probably doesn't help. But definitely the Empire Strikes Back version of the helmet flares out at the base a lot more than the Return of the Jedi version. So like I said, I was trying to find some decent stills from both the Empire and Return of the Jedi, and I think the Return of the Jedi helmet does not actually, the on-screen version does not flare out as much as the Empire version. I may be wrong, but I still think that Hot Toys didn't quite nail it. Now that I've seen the Empire version, I think they didn't quite nail the helmet. Looks a little bit too narrow, but it's still it's not too bad at all. You can see, well, obviously they have different weathering. The colour's different. Again, I couldn't tell if the Return of the Jedi version is accurate to the screen version. It's just impossible. Every image that you see of Boba Fett has his armor looking a different colour, so I don't know. But yeah, you can see the different weathering. A lot of these differences are probably, you guys probably already know this, but the pouches around the waist, ammo pouches, I think they are quite different. The Return of the Jedi version has pouches going all the way around the front to the sides, whereas Empire Strikes Back version has a gap in the middle. The colour of that ribbed waistband is different. The colour of the Wookiee braids are different. Now, as we go around to his right side profile, you can see the difference in the paintwork on the helmet, especially this side sort of temple section that the range target finder type thing connects to. You can see how differently that is painted. The shoulder armor, although it doesn't really show up that well here, you can see the difference in the color there, and also you can start seeing the difference in the paintwork on the backpack, his rocket pack. Alright, and as we move right around to the back here, you can see again the massive difference in the coloration on the backpack, the jetpack. Also on the back of the helmet, that center section on the Jedi version is silver, Empire version is red. Weathering again is obviously very different. The Hot Toys figures, they seem to have used the same sculpt for the jetpacks. I don't know if that was the case in the on-screen versions of Boba Fett. If anyone knows that, let me know in the comments down below. And you can also start seeing the difference in the colour of his cape. And on the left side profile, this better shows the difference in the shoulder armour, the colour in the shoulder armour. It stands out a bit more, and again you can see the difference in the capes. Again on the helmets, these lines going around the side are a different colour, and then you've got that sort of vertical temple section on the helmet. It's painted differently again. The left hand or left wrist gauntlet is actually quite similar, apart from the colouring obviously. It's just this side section that has been changed. At least that's pretty much the only difference I can see. And then the right hand side, the wrist gauntlet, again is very similar. Aside from the paint, the Empire version has a bit of black and white paint down the side here, and it only has one hose going off it, whereas the Return of the Jedi version, a lot more weathering. Obviously it's also red or magenta or burgundy, and it's got a couple of extra hoses, braided hoses, coming off the back of it as well. And you can also see the difference in the colour of the gloves here as well. Again, you can see here the difference in the colouring of the knee armour and the weathering. And then his boots are painted slightly differently as well, although they seem to be exactly the same sculpt. And the Empire Strikes Back version just has ties around the ankles of his flight suit, whereas the Return of the Jedi has ankle spats covering the ties. Alright guys, that is pretty much it. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. If you made it this far into the video, good on you. Thank you very much for sticking around. I absolutely love both of these figures. The arrival of the Empire Strikes Back version, as I said, has pointed out a bit of a flaw for me in the helmet of the Return of the Jedi version, but apart from that, yeah, two very nice representations of Boba Fett from The Empire Strikes Back and from Return of the Jedi. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these figures in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and may the Force be with you.